Thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to talk about raising a real estate fund and how to secure Middle East investors and private capital. This is the ultimate institutional investor database. It's a detailed database of private equity, venture capital, family investment offices, sovereign wealth funds, investment banks, and investment fund contacts. It includes over 400,000 investor contacts, including 99,000 investment funds, and most of the data in my databases has been secured from 2021 to 2025. Now, it's considered the largest collection currently on the market. So we're going to take a look at this case study, and it is for a private client of mine. It's a Middle East investor search, and keep in mind that we've already done the same search for them using my master database for USA contacts. Now, the overview is this case study details the raise of $50 million in equity for a private real estate client. The capital will fund a pipeline of real estate development and value add projects in high growth urban markets in the USA. So the strategy focuses on acquiring underutilized assets, executing a target development plan, and generating superior returns through capital appreciation. We've already done DD and a bit of valuation on the assets right now. Presently, the company is worth about $50 million. So they want to add $50 million in equity to scale further. So the key filters that we use to ensure a successful capital raise, we're targeting a highly specific investor profile. One, fund type is real estate and private equity, using both those keywords because they are not looking for debt. So it's very clear it's real estate and private equity. Strategy is opportunistic and value add, and the minimum investment is $100,000. Now keep in mind, that's our US minimum. We have to put that in there so that we can attract a wide net of investors. When it comes to the Middle East, we found in previous exercises that about $2 million is about the minimum that investors contribute. So that's something to keep in mind when we're looking at both the different territories. Now, who is this database suited for? Well, this is suitable for fund managers and startups seeking targeted capital raising. It's ideal for venture capitalists, private equity groups, real estate funds, startups aiming to connect with qualified investors across multiple asset classes. By the way, this applies to the 400,000 contacts, not just the Middle East, obviously. It's also good for institutional fundraisers and placement agents, perfect for professionals managing institutional-grade fundraising initiatives, including family offices, investment banks, hedge funds, pension funds, and infrastructure funds, requiring accurate, up-to-date investor contacts with detailed profiles. It's also good for business development and investor relations teams, suitable for teams who need a comprehensive multi-sector database with rich contact detail, emails, and LinkedIn company info to streamline outreach, personalize engagement, and accelerate deal sourcing efficiently. Now, keep in mind a really important factor. This is a massive database with a huge amount of detail. Now, it does not get updated anything past where it is now. My job is not to be the customer service role manager for a company, and it's really up for the people who acquire the database from me, generally in the smaller chunks, is to continue to do updating in the future for it. You may only be raising for one particular project, or you may be an institutional group that has a dozen a year, and then you're going to need to have a team that spends a lot of time on an annual basis to update because sectors change, preferences change, mandates change within a lot of companies that are in the database. So let's take a look at the database. So a key database disclosure, my extensive database library provides hundreds of thousands of global contacts, typically including LinkedIn profiles, emails, and websites, though not all details are complete. Now, this is primarily compiled and updated between 2021 and 2025, with some major updates in 24 and 25. So the corporate resource may include contacts whose roles have changed. It's designed as an excellent starting point for outreach. It's best leveraged and continually refined by organizations with dedicated data teams. Now, this database comprises a blend of individuals and companies, each with distinct investment criteria and operating conditions, so there's no guarantee your approach will be favorably received. Note, this database is available to corporate or institutional groups only, no personal sales. Okay, so now we're on the master spreadsheet part. We're going to get into the Middle East part of it coming up, but I want to show you where it all starts. So you can see at the bottom here we've got 99,215. Those are the amount of funds that are a part of this database. So if we go right up to the top, And you can see we've got name of the fund, the background, inception year. This is a historical database of a large amount of funds that have been raised. So we do have information about ones that happened a few years ago. For typical research that I do for clients, I tend to look at 2022 and closer to 2025 so that we can narrow it down a bit, but it gives you a bit of an idea of past raises. Then we've got background, we've got asset class, a strategy. If I scroll over to the right, more information about the funds, the legal structure. There's going to be information on preferences, secondary locations, primary locations, websites, email info, and so on. So that is the master database as far as the funds. Then we go to the contacts. By the way, there's about 25,000 individual funds if we narrow it down to unique funds. If we take a look at this database, so this particular part of the database, we scroll down right to the bottom, has around 412,000 contacts. And again, these could be private equity, they could be family offices, sovereign wealth funds, investment banks, venture capital, you name it. If they're in the fundraising and investment sector, they're on this database. They could be real estate firms, you name it. Now, you can see on the top, we have the firm type, we have the name, the title of the person, asset class that they usually are specialized in. We have about in this one, we have around 270,000 emails, 400,000 contacts, and we scroll over to the right, you're going to get a little bit more information about their territory. So again, this is a global database, and this is where I start to filter down to the smaller databases that clients contact me for. So let's now go look at the next list. Okay, so now we have the Middle East screening for my client, and keep in mind that just because they're on this list doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to take a look at a U.S. real estate project development company on a private equity basis. This is very refined, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's 100% as far as on the qualifications. It's a starting point for you to make contact. And the main reason being is because these are reasonably well up to date, it doesn't necessarily mean in 3 or 4 months that these groups will get mandates or going to raise capital for something in the U.S. Why I say that? Well, as we sit here in August 2025, the sentiment for the USA has really increased as far as Middle East clients in about the last 6 months for many reasons. And therefore, that's why I say that if you're looking to raise capital in the Middle East, and it's really important to keep an open mind that things change very rapidly, and you should make connections even though it may seem like they're not interested today. So you can see there's 64 groups, and if we scroll up to the very top, you're going to see the firm name, the background, what type. You can see it could be a sovereign wealth fund, could be a government agency, it could be bank, it could be insurance company, asset managers are in here, family investment offices, private equity firms as well. And again, most of this is going to be GCC, so you're going to get most of the UAE, you're going to get Saudi, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar. Now, we've got a bit of information about the assets under management, and we're going to get some information about the address. If we scroll over to the right-hand side, we're getting more information. Now, remember in the presentation, I said we're looking at private equity and real estate as one particular search. So you can see here, this database has the private equity strategy preferences, their geographic preferences, the industries that they're usually going to take a look at, and the industry verticals. So you're going to find real estate is a very common one, so that's something that we to keep in mind. And we scroll over to the right hand side, you can see that now we're looking at the strategy preferences for the real estate, core, opportunistic. So this is the particular sector that my client is in. Geographic preference, you're going to see North America in there. North America is just another good word for USA. Although they, of course, they'll look at Canada, but that's really sort of narrowing it down for the USA. If it doesn't say North America, I still would approach them because, again, sentiment changes, investors change, and in the last few months there has been a more focus for them to take a look at the U.S. for a number of reasons. Now, you can see here it also shows that a lot of these were updated in late 2024, early 2025, where it says in the next 12 months, we're looking or we're not looking. Even if they say they're not investing, I still would approach them. Remember that these particular databases are very refined. They're professionals. You're going to contact the contacts. I'm going to get to that in the next page. And ask them what's on their horizon. Are they willing to look at this, or are they willing to look at that? So we'll go down to the bottom. You can see there's about 697 contacts. You can see we've got the firm type again. This database, again, this part of it is the contacts. So you're going to get their name, their role. For example, most of these are working on the investment team. They're senior portfolio managers, VPs, head of strategic investment, you name it. And then it's going to talk about asset class. You're going to get their emails. In many cases, I think on this one, we've got around 430 emails, and we've got about 621 LinkedIns. This is a special database that has both. And you can see this city there. So this is the perfect database for the client that I'm looking at that's raising $50 million, looking for equity, and based in the USA. So if you're looking for opportunities in the Middle East, this is how I pull my results from the larger database of 400,000 contacts. For more information, contact DubaiInvestorsList.com. That's DubaiInvestorsList.com. Please like, share, and subscribe.